and welcome to the Once Again podcast. We are your hosts, Ashley and Jason. In this episode, we will be looking at the 2022 animated special, LEGO Star Wars Summer Vacation. In this series, we won't be doing a deep analysis of the film, or giving a bunch of behind-the-scenes facts, but rather giving our impressions of the overall film. We'll also be giving a score to the film. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy this episode. Finn has arranged a special vacation for his friends aboard the galactic star cruiser, the Hakron. But Finn's plans quickly go awry when he's separated from the group. Alone, on board the Hakron, Finn encounters three Force spirits, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Princess Leia, who each share their own unexpected stories of vacations gone wrong.
Premiered on August 5th, 2022. So we're doing something recent, which never happens on this podcast very often. Directed by Ken Cunningham. Story by David Shane, who also produced the special. Edited by Damon Fulford. Music by Michael Kramer. Production companies are Atomic Cartoons, Lucasfilm Animation, and Lucasfilm. The runtime was 45 minutes. It starred Weird Al Yankovic as Vic Vanko, Ali Feeder as Cy Snoodles, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, Ashley Birch as Malnor and the Tour Droid, Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, D. Bradley Baker as Boba Fett, BVRJ and Wicket, Eric Bowser as Luke Skywalker and Stormtrooper, Helen Sadler as Rey, Jake Green as Poe Dameron, James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jawa, Kelly Marie Tran as Rose Tico, Kevin Michael Richardson as Jabba the Hutt, Kaylee Curran as Sidero, Matt Lanter as Anakin Skywalker and the Rodian, Matt Sloan as Darth Vader, Matthew Wood as Ben Solo and Resort Guest Number 1, Omar Benson Miller as Finn, Paul F. Tompkins as Rad, Ross Marquand as Han Solo, Shelby Young as Princess Leia Organa, Thomas Lennon as Wick Cooper, Trevor Duvall as Emperor Palpatine Wuher, Mon Calamari, Imperial Officer, Yvette Nicole Brown as Colvette Valeria.
Very nice. All right. So, I have a plot summary here. Should I read it, or do you want to just...
No, we can probably just talk about it.
Okay. So basically, clearly this takes place after Rise of Skywalker.
I think it takes place after one of the other Lego specials, because they do have a few, because there's also a Christmas special that takes place after. I think there's another one, too. They have a couple of specials.
Yeah. Well, I just mean in the main timeline.
Yeah, in the main timeline.
It's not canonical, but it could be. Like, besides the extreme humor element of it, you could say that everything that happens in this did happen. And they are confirming that Rey, they are confirming that Finn is Force sensitive, something that Rise of Skywalker just hinted at.
Which they've done this in the Christmas special, too. They've already kind of established that Finn is Force sensitive.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we'll have to go over the Christmas special at Christmas time. Yeah. So this is really, in my opinion, just a nice ad for the Halcyon, the Galactic Star Cruiser, Disney World's latest hotel venture, which I found cute. But, I've watched a million videos of it, and I love it. Also, anything in reference to Disney World or Disney parks makes me giggle, so...
Very nice. So, it's, I don't know how you want to say, because I don't want to compare it to a Christmas story, I don't want to compare it to a Christmas story, but Finn gets visited by three ghosts.
Yeah,
and
he does.
They take him on little adventures, and
they take him on vacations.
He learns a lesson.
About how vacations can go wrong.
Right.
One of my favorite lines, though, is when, early on, when they're like, do heroes even get vacations?
Yeah.
I think it's Rose that says that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Good call. Do heroes get vacations? No.
I love that Kelly Marie Tran came back to voice Rose for this, because she was so bullied online. She literally quit.
Kelly Marie Tran, we love you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming back for this. And obviously Billy D. Williams and Anthony Daniels as well. That's great. And the guy who voiced Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars came back, which is cool. And I follow Shelby Young on TikTok, and she always said that she was the voice of Leia on that, and I didn't really believe her, but she is, and she did a fantastic job because she sounds like
young Leia and old Leia.
Yeah. Although now we have another young Leia, so we should say Prime Leia.
Leia Prime.
Yeah. But
Carrie Fisher's versions of Leia.
Yeah, and she does a fantastic job sounding like both of them. But yeah, so they go on this cruise, and Finn wants to have fun with his friends. Like, he thinks it's the last time they're all going to see each other, because they're all going to go off and do their own things. And they end up getting separated, and Finn's sad about that, and nobody notices. And then Obi-Wan shows up at a bar next to him.
My favorite is that he's just like, hello there.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Oh, there's so many Easter eggs and references.
There's so many, like I said, there's so many Disney parks. Every time they bring up Ronto Wraps, I'm like, hell yeah, Ronto Wraps. Love me a Ronto Wrap.
Yeah, but even just the line, like they pull lines from the movies and have different characters use them in different ways, and it's the humor is top notch. It's very, very funny.
Whoever is writing these things is doing fabulous work.
Yeah, I also just want to point out that when Finn gets to this bar, the bartender droid is BVRJ, and he says he's human cyborg libations. And that line,
beautiful.
Yeah,
love it.
I cracked up. But yeah, so Obi-Wan's like, oh, hey, vacations can get kind of messed up, but let me tell you about a vacation that I went on. And we find out about one of Jabba's birthday parties.
Also, my favorite is that, like, Obi-Wan just, like, shows up and he's like, yeah, a Jedi needed me. And like, Finn's like, oh, so Rey needed you? And Obi-Wan's like, no.
Yeah.
I came for you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sitting here in the bar with you.
But so we go to this flashback taking place after episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess after the Obi-Wan series, because it's a teenage Luke Skywalker that shows up at the end. Yeah, Obi-Wan is just hanging out on Tatooine, doing his little shtick there. And what is her name that shows up? Colvette.
Colvette Valeria.
Colvette Valeria shows up, and she's like, hey, so I'm a rebel, and I stole some drugs, essentially, from the Empire, and then they stole them back and are selling them to Jabba on his birthday, and I need your help to stop that.
Well, she stole coaxium, and coaxium is like a fuel power, as far as I'm aware, of some sort, isn't it?
Maybe. It might be fuel power.
I only say that because the reason they use coaxium is because in Star Wars Smuggler's Run, the ride in Star Wars lands in the Disney parks, you are trying to get coaxium, and I don't think they would have us hunting down drugs. So
you could be right.
I'm pretty sure it's a power source.
Also, they make a ton of Solo, a Star Wars story. I think they were also going for coaxium and that. So yeah, they make a ton of references to that movie.
All I do think of is like with the coaxium is like Hondo from the Red being like, you get the coaxium. Like.
But so Obi-Wan's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out, whatever. And they sneak into Jabba's palace, and Obi-Wan puts on a little show. He sings for everyone.
He's chilling. He's relaxing.
And has a beautiful, if Ewan McGregor wasn't sexy enough for you already, evidently Obi-Wan also has a beautiful singing voice.
Not that it's actually...
Well, no, not that, but in my mind, that's what I'm picturing. And he's getting everyone out on the dance floor to distract them and celebrate. Even Jabba the Hutt busts a move out there on the dance floor. He just slugs his way out there. And Valeria manages to steal the coaxium. These ridiculous Star Wars names. And she's like, okay, Obi-Wan, time to go. And he's like, hey, check out my beautiful wife. Because that was their cover, that they were a couple vacationing on Tatooine for some reason.
Yes.
And he spins her around, and when he spins her around, it rips her dress off and shows she's got all the coaxium. Yep. But they manage to escape, and they're chased after by Boba Fett, because for some reason Boba Fett's there, which isn't voiced by Tamara Morrison, but the voice actor who does it does a fantastic job of sounding like him.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it wasn't him.
And Boba Fett chases after them, and Obi-Wan busts out the lightsaber and, cuts down Slave One pretty much. He uses the rocks and everything that they're flying by to do it. But, and that's Obi-Wan's vacation. And even Finn says to him, he's like, that's a vacation.
You were still doing work.
Yeah, and he's like,
also,
I had fun.
I totally forgot, but I know you're going to like this because you do it all the time when we're thinking. They use the a certain point of view line early on.
Yeah.
And I was like, Also, they do that in every one of these Lego films. They do that, well, from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Always.
But that ends the first segment, and Finn, he feels a little bit better, but he's not totally better yet.
Because his friends aren't there still.
He tries to meet up with them and ends up getting pushed onto a little, what do you want to call it? Transport ship, thank you. And it takes him down to Scarif. Rogue One fans, you'll remember
I was
Scarif.
like, oh man, we're going to Scarif. Cool. Yeah. Wonder what's there.
Yeah.
It's not blown up and destroyed completely?
No, because it wasn't it was only like 10% of the Death Star or whatever. Yeah, it wasn't a fully operational Death Star. But it's a nice beach resort now. 30 years removed from whatever, or 33 years removed from it. And, Finn's down there and he's feeling sad, and all of a sudden you hear Vader's breathing, and who walks out of the ocean but the ghost of Anakin Skywalker.
I love that he works right out of the ocean.
In scuba gear for some reason. Just so that they could have him do the Vader voice, or the Vader breathing sound. But he's like, hey, what's going on? And Finn's like, oh, I'm sad. My friends, I want to have a good time with them, and I want to take a vacation. And, Obi-Wan came and told me to relax, and Anakin's like, Obi-Wan told you to have a good time? What? Like, that's a running joke that all the other ghosts are like, they're like, I can't believe Obi-Wan told you to have a good time. Or whatever it was that I don't remember the exact line.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah. Finn says to him something along the lines of, I kind of feel guilty because we're the good guys and we're taking a vacation, and evil never takes a vacation. And Anakin's like, well, hold on, buddy, because I can tell you about when evil took a vacation. And we cut back to, the Imperial times, and in what I think is the funniest segment of the entire feature. And we have, it's Empire Day, and, they're on Coruscant, and everybody's celebrating, except for the Emperor himself. He's very sad because there's nothing left to conquer. He's like,
I just gotta do paperwork. I hate being in charge.
Yeah, it's all
but
bureaucratic.
Also conquer.
Yeah. And Vader, who was taking part in the celebrations, he had little sparklers in his hands. It's like, oh well, let's I'll take you somewhere nice. Let's go to a nice resort, and they go to Scarif, and because it's a beach resort, because this is pre-Rogue One, and they're there, and the Emperor's not having a good time. Still, he's very miserable, and Vader's trying to cheer him up, and one of the best lines is, the Emperor's going to sunbathe, and he tells Vader to make sure that he gets his shoulder blades with the lotion, because he's going to burn. And they start to overhear some activity going on further down the beach, and they come across Vic Van Korth and the Birth Boys, who play the Bith Boys, who play the song Scarif Beach Party, sung by Weird Al Yankovic. I didn't give a score to the song because I didn't know we were going to have songs in it. Although now we've had 2 songs so far.
Yeah.
But
getting all the songs in.
Yeah, but they decide they're going to have a contest to be the king of the beach or the ruler of the beach.
And that's all you have to say for the Emperor to be like, let's go.
Yeah, and
of course he cheats the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, using his force powers.
Is it cheating? Because it's their natural abilities.
True,
I think the only...
But everybody else is very upset, pretty much, because they're like, they're winning everything.
Yeah. I think the only thing that's cheating is that Vader swaps out the little bar that they have for the limbo contest for his lightsaber. And, the guy that was going to go next is like, nope, not doing it. So I would say that's cheating. Aside from that, their force powers are their natural abilities. Does it give them a big advantage? Yes. But they win every contest and are named, and no one recognizes them because Vader's in a ridiculous porg hat, like a festive hat with porgs on it, and the Emperor's in beach attire, so no one recognizes them. And they say, oh, who are the, king of the beach? And the Emperor says, I'm Sheev Palpa Sky Junior. He can't even come up with a fake name. He's just saying the names that he knows. And he gets put in charge, and then it gets revealed that he's the Emperor and Darth Vader's Darth Vader. And the Emperor decides to electrocute everyone on the beach, and then tells Vader to turn the beach to glass. And that's what happens in Rogue One. I don't know, was there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, you didn't left out that they gave everybody participation trophies, and that's what set off Palpatine.
That is what set off Palpatine.
Was it because he was like, no, I'm the ruler of the beach. If everybody has a freaking trophy, then everybody's ruler of the beach, and I'm the ruler of the beach.
You're right, yes. I'm sorry, he tells Vader to build a base on Scarif, and that's what leads into Rogue One. And then we go back to the present day, and Anakin tells Finn to find his bliss. And Finn returns to, what is it, the
Halcyon.
Halcyon. I think I said the Hakron before, but Halcyon. Finn returns and sees people reuniting, but his friends are nowhere to be seen. He says that he regrets this trip. And then suddenly Leia...
Such terrible friends, by the way.
Yeah, Leia Organa appears to him and tells them that everyone needs to get away and have a vacation sometimes. And we cut to a segment with Leia, Han, and young Ben Solo going on a family vacation together. It starts off on, I don't remember the name of the planet. Mimban, where Solo, a Star Wars story, starts off at. And, basically Han's taking Ben around and showing him all of his accomplishments.
And Ben's like, ugh.
Yeah, and Leia's like, he doesn't want to hear about the pit that you were thrown into.
This is like the last vacation before they're about to drop him off at their Luke's for training. So.
Yes, that's true.
Important note there.
Yeah, it's a young Ben Solo being trained and everything. And she says he doesn't want to hear about the time that Chewie was supposed to eat you, or whatever the line is. And then Han finds that they have a vacation resort on Endor, and he's like, hey, let's go there. And Leia's like, oh, I don't know about this, but they go, and they get there, and it's very crappy. And Ben finds a young girl that he has a crush on, who's the daughter of the resort owner. And the resort owner takes Han and Leia, and he's like, hey, I got something to show you. Come with me. And takes them off, and Ben goes off with the girl, and he's trying to impress her, and another boy shows up.
And he's like, you don't know how to fly the Falcon.
Yeah. And they steal the Millennium Falcon, the cocky...
And it's been already established that Han does not want to let Ben fly the Falcon.
Yeah, he doesn't think he's ready.
He doesn't want to let go,
Yeah. They steal the Falcon, and chaos ensues, and it gets revealed that Wick Cooper, the resort owner, is having trouble with the Ewoks. And they show up, and Wick's like, hey, Leia and Han are on my side. But they're like, hey, Ewoks, Wicket! And we get Wicket back, which is just fantastic.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're not, gonna be on your side. Yeah. We'll help you negotiate. And they do end up negotiating,
Yeah, the Ewoks are gonna work at the resort, pretty much.
Yeah.
And get the profits, some of the profits from it.
Some of the profits in exchange for not basically trying to, ruin Wick Cooper's business.
Yeah. And that's when Cooper's daughter contacts him and is like, oh, we're in the Falcon, it's out of control. Because they flew into the debris of the destroyed Death Star.
Other guy that was trying and took over and flew the Falcon.
Yeah.
So then Han takes Ben and is like, you can do this. And, basically, let's go and let's Ben do it.
Yeah. And Ben, kicks, the guy's name is Rad. Kicks Rad out of the pilot's seat, takes over, does what Han tells him to do, and I also imagine follows his instincts a little bit there. Being force sensitive and everything, and gets them back to safety. And Wick's daughter gives Ben his first kiss, which causes him to blush and everything.
Aww,
and
it's so cute.
Yeah, and the family, Han's like, oh, you are my son, and you are ready, blah, blah, blah. And they hug, and then they go to Luke's academy, and they drop him off, and Han says, hey, Ben, I love you. And Ben says, I know. Yeah. Nice little callback. And so we get to the final segment where Finn realizes that he has been scared of change all along and doesn't know if he could say goodbye. Leia realizes that this trip has not just been difficult for Finn, but for everyone, and that none of his friends are ready to say goodbye. The rest of the group rushes into the atrium and tells Finn they have been looking for him. They all apologize for not sticking together as a group, which I love how they kind of make Poe an idiot in all of these Lego things.
Every Star Wars Lego thing is Poe being, completely useless and, dragging them to things, and everybody's like, Poe.
Yeah, he's super bossy and super dumb.
I forget what some of the other ones are, but there's a few that I'm like, there's one where they're, in an ancient, I'll look it up later, but it's funny.
Yeah, but they apologize for not sticking together, and Finn reassures them that it's okay. And he reminisces about the first time that they met he met each of his friends. Which, he reminisces about when Rose crashed into him to keep him from killing himself.
Yes!
So not the first time that they met.
No, not every time.
Yeah.
The most significant moments of their friendships.
Yeah, it also doesn't have a scene of him the first time he met Chewie, or the first time he met 3PO, or the first time he met R2 in there. Oh, I did forget to mention, they show the droids coming back from, like, a relaxation spa, and I love that BB-8 has a little towel wrapped up on his head. Like, that cracked me up. The friends all share a hug as all the Force spirits throughout the episode appear. In the holovid, Lando hopes that all the passengers are enjoying their time aboard Halcyon. He says that although every trip must eventually end, the memories will not, and Lando thanks them for joining them and hopes that the Force will be with them. Which those last two lines were directed to the audience, not just the characters in the thing.
And I love that. And like I said, a lot of these things do that. Mm-hmm. And it's the Halloween special that does a lot of funky things, and I like it.
Well, maybe we'll cover that for Halloween, and we'll cover Lego Star Wars for Christmas. Although our Christmas calendar is getting kind of filled up with the different ideas we have.
That's fine. We'll just have to post more than once.
Well, possible.
Double posting, guys. Yeah. Get ready.
We did it a while ago that we were double posting, but...
We stopped doing that.
It got too much.
Got to be too much.
It was Chewbacca, to say the least.
It was Chewbacca, to say the least.
But is there anything else you want, or should we go into our overall scores?
I think we're good.
Okay. So I wrote down great humor, fantastic Easter eggs, and something for Star Wars fans of all ages, provided that they have a sense of humor. So about 20% of Star Wars fans. And I give Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I love these. I mean, it was my idea to watch these because I think they're funny. I love all the allusions to the parks, allusions to the franchise. It sounds like anything. And, they can endlessly do that, too. And they can poke fun at Star Wars in a nice, like, adult way, too. Like, it's great for kids, but, like, adults will really appreciate this. And I gave it an 8 out of 10.
And they kind of had something for everyone. Like, it had the first segment with Obi-Wan being in, like, the prime Star Wars years, kind of. It had Vader and the Emperor kind of just out of the sequels before prime Star Wars. And then it had Ben and...
well, you got to see Anakin in that, too. So
yeah, but it was Star Wars across the board. If you like the sequels, the originals, the prequels, it was something for you all across the way. Though without anything else to say, this has been the Once Again Podcast. Any questions, comments, or critiques can be addressed to our email at onceagainpod@gmail.com. Follow us on our social media accounts, Once Again Pod, all one word, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you'd like to contribute to the podcast, we have several tiers available on patreon.com/onceagainpod. As always, a like, follow, or share would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and remember, we will entertain you. We will always entertain you. Rumpelstiltskin always says that magic comes with a price. But for this price, you can get a nice piece of jewelry. Use code ONCEPOD for 10% off your first order at Unusual Magic Jewelry on Etsy. Click the link in the description.